Good evening, everybody. This is Kath Lloyd, Make the Change, and I know it's a little bit late. It is, I'm just trying to see the time, nearly 8:15, and it's Let's Talk time. And yeah, sorry, little bit late and in different surroundings. I'm actually in my car on the M6 at the motorway services. I can't quite think which one I'm at the moment, but yes. So just to get my bearings a little bit. So tonight we're going to be talking about your 2018 vision. Now, hi Julia, nice to see you here. It's quite interesting. Well, I found it on my journey down because I've been spending a lot of time on the M6, and you get tired of the radio, and there's a little section in the journey where all the radio stations just drop out, and I had a little bit of spare time on Saturday, so I trundled around HMV and started flicking through some of the old albums, because I thought, I could perhaps, spend a bit of money and update the CDs that are scratched and jumpy, or going back to the good old days of the vinyl that aren't so easy to play in the car, is to pick up the CDs. And I actually picked up Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, and a lot of what he talks about. We are all born to run. When we pop into the world, there's nothing there to stop us. The world is our oyster, and when we're tiny, we are trying to achieve everything. First of all, it's survival, being heard, being understood, learning to walk, and learning to talk, and going from there. And we've all got a burning desire. We've all got what Bruce Springsteen sings about is a hungry heart. Somewhere we've got a hungry heart, whether that is about being a better parent, a better partner, being better at our jobs, being more qualified, whether it's about our hobbies, whether it's about running faster, longer. Hi Nick, lovely to see you here. Where it's, being on the podium, reaching the top of the top, or whether it's about building something. It might be about building a home or building a business. We're all hungry for something. And, again, going back to Bruce Springsteen, it's about, we need a spark. We've got to have a spark to be able to get the flame so that we can burn brightly and achieve all of those things. And so this is an introduction into, starting to pinpoint, your desires for 2018. And sometimes it can be really quite difficult. I find it difficult to visualize that far ahead. I'm a person who can live in the present very easily, and be grateful and thankful for and appreciate things that are happening at the moment. But I do find it difficult to visualize what I want for 2018, or over the next 12 months, or even 2 years. And that doesn't mean to say that I can't achieve it. It's just easier if you know where you're heading. Okay. And some things we are in control of, and some things we're not in control of, because, we can always think, we should have done this, we should have done that. And hindsight is a wonderful thing, but we don't know what's around the corner. We don't know what's going to be happening. But it's about, trying to think about what it is, where you want to be going, so that at least you can put some plans in place. And if something unexpected happens, you are in a better position. Hi Rich, nice to see you here. You are in a better position to be able to either alter your course, or to steer around the obstacle that's in your way, or whether you need to put something aside for a little bit, and the only way you're going to find out which way you're going to do that is to think about your values. All right. But tonight's session is really about finding your vision for 2018. And you know, I'm not talking about, you know, some people talk about you should have your 10-year goal plan, you should have your 5-year goal plan. Well, for the majority of people, that's virtually impossible. If we can work out what we want for 12 months, you're doing really, really well. But it might not just be about, you know, something physical. It might be about your feelings and emotions. What do you want to feel? How do you want to be feeling by, you know, by next week, by 3 weeks? Perhaps you're not managing something very well, and you want to be able to manage it more easily. And these are just as important aims and goals as something physical, like gaining a qualification, like, you know, climbing Mount Everest or building a home. Okay, the thoughts and the feelings that you're having are actually the key part to be able to manage those other things. Okay, so the first place to really think is about, you know, what do you want different? What do you want different than you've got at the moment? Okay, and this is, I'm afraid, where you need to really get your pen and paper out and start jotting some things down. No particular order, just download all of the information so that you've got it to look at later. Okay, and then relax, because when you're relaxed, you are in a better state to be able to be creative, to be able to allow your thought processes to flow a little bit better. If you're very anxious and you're very tense, you know, your whole body clamps up and it becomes very, very difficult to want to breathe, to want to relax, two, to relax, and 3, to be able to work out what it is that you want out of your life. So, you know, you've got to allow yourself some relaxation time to be able to work out where you're going. Okay, so I'm going to take you through, if that's all right, through what I call a time travel exercise. And again, some people find this very, very difficult, but at least this is on record so that you can play it back and do the exercise again, or you can request that I run this as a separate little let's talk if you want to. But the time travel exercise is a really good way of distancing yourself from where you are at the moment so that you can start seeing things from a different perspective. All right, because sometimes we get so caught up in the moment, so caught up in the desires or the dreams that we want, it can actually be difficult to see the bigger picture. All right, so if you want to play along with the time travel exercise, then I need you to be sitting down quietly. So if you're driving, this isn't going to work because I'm going to want you to shut your eyes. All right, so you need to find some quietness, all right, away from the kids or, you know, away from your mates. Turn the telly off, turn the computer off, whatever it is that you're doing, and find some quiet time. Okay, so I want you to sit back. Well, you don't have to sit back, you can stand up if you want to, and in fact that might actually be better because you can move around the room if you want to. Then you don't have to do this stationary. Okay, so what I want you to do is to just stand still for a minute, shut your eyes, and I'm just really conscious that the lights might go out on the car actually, so if it does, just bear with me because I'll have to turn the engine on. Okay, and just sit or stand and just take some 3 deep breaths, okay? Just gently in and gently out. And again, in and out. And as you breathe out, just feel yourself relaxing a little bit. And in and out. Okay, so what I want you to do now is to actually shut your eyes, okay? And I want you to imagine that you are floating up above yourself, okay? And find a comfortable place to rest above yourself. And I want you to just look down on yourself, alright? Look down on yourself where you are at the moment. And just have a little look around you. Where you are, what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Okay? And then when you're ready, I want you to travel in time to 3 months from now. So we're talking around the 10th of March. And when you get to that comfortable place, just stop. And I want you to think about what is different in your life. What it is that you've got. What it is that is different from today. And what I want you to do is to imagine that you're turning round and you're looking back over the last 3 months to the 10th of January and look at the journey that you have travelled. Okay. Now, what I want you to do now is to travel to 6 months' time. So we're talking around the 10th of June. And what is different at the 10th of June compared to the 10th of March, compared to the 10th of January? So in the 10th of June, where are you? Where do you imagine? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? What do you want to be thinking? What do you want to be feeling? What do you want to have achieved? And again, I want you to turn round and look back at your journey over the last 6 months. And then I want you to go to 9 months' time. So travel gently to 9 months' time. So we're talking around the 10th of September. And what do you want to achieve by the 10th of September? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? What do you want to be thinking? What do you want to be feeling? And again, I want you to turn around on your timeline and look back at the last 9 months and take note of your journey. And then I want you to turn back around and face the future and go to the 10th of January 2019. Where do you want to be this time next year? What do you want to have done? What do you want to have achieved? What do you want to be different? What do you want to be thinking? What do you want to be feeling? And again, I want you to turn round in your timeline and have a look at your journey over the last 12 months. And I want you to notice the difference. I want you to notice your achievements, the things that you can celebrate along the way. And then when you're ready, I want you to float back to 9 months and drop down as if you were there in the 10th of September. And imagine you're living that 10th of September with the people that you want to be with, in the place that you want to be, thinking and feeling the things that you want to be thinking and feeling. And then float back up into your timeline and float back to 6 months. So the 10th of June. And gently drop down into the 10th of June. And to be with the people you want to be with, doing what you want to be doing, achieving what you want to be achieving, thinking and feeling what you want to be thinking and feeling. When you're ready, float back up into your timeline and float back to 3 months. So the 10th of March. Drop back down into the 10th of March. And pretend, imagine that you were with the people that you want to be with, in the surroundings that you want to be in. Thinking and feeling, achieving what you want to be achieving in 3 months' time. And then float back up into your timeline, then come back to the present day, where you are today on the 10th of January. And I want you, when you're ready, to open your eyes and think about that journey that you've been on. And then when you're ready, start making some notes about what it is that was coming to mind, what it is that you were achieving, what the people that you were with, what you were thinking and what you were feeling. Because then that will give you a guide as to, how you're going to start planning and start taking action to be able to achieve all of those things. Excuse me. And that's what we're going to start looking at next week. How are you going to put these things into a reality, so they're not just dreams and desires, they're not just aims and goals anymore, they are things that you can actually achieve, by taking the right actions. So that is a really good exercise. I've never done it virtually before, so I don't know whether it's worked as well as it does in a real life workshop, because I do that exercise in a real life workshop, and I've had people walking up and down my garden in the past, or walking up and down corridors and doing it. But it is a really good exercise to start seeing and being more in touch with what it is that you want. And the important bit is to look back over your journey at, the months that you've coming back to today, so that you can see your journey and you can see the progression. Because if you can, the better that you can visualize it. Hi Catherine, lovely to see you here. The more you can visualize it, the easier it is to plan the actions to be able to achieve it. Okay. Some people are quite happy to mull along, and sometimes, it's very difficult to... Hi Jacqueline, lovely to see you here. We are told we've got to have these goals, we've got to have strong action plans, but sometimes when we force something, it doesn't happen. And sometimes we have to let things flow naturally. When I was... Hi Helen, lovely to see you here. When I was planning on, leaving my teaching job and changing, to coaching, I kept thinking, I've got to start making a decision. I've got to start making a decision about when it's going to be. But actually, in the end, I knew when it was right, because it felt right. Because it fitted in with everything else that was important to me, at the right time. So, yes, it's important to know where we're going, especially if you've got some burning desires, but sometimes we do have to let things flow naturally, and only you know that, because only you know you and your process, all right, and what you're comfortable with doing. Because some people are bigger risk takers than others. Some people are happier to do big steps out of their comfort zones, and some people aren't. And so it's about, planning something that is specific for you, that you can work with and work with successfully. Okay. And so this is why it's really, again, this is why it's important to visualize what it is, so that you can, and so that you can organize this in a more realistic way for yourself. So I've lost track of the time. I think it's 8:38. All right. So go back over the exercise, over the recording again. And if you find it easier to... Hi, sorry about that. Somebody just phoned up, my sister, in actual fact. Sorry about that. Hi, Becky. Lovely to see you here. So what I was saying was, go back over this recording again, and if you find it easier to walk it out, so in the garden perhaps, or if you've got a nice long hall going into another room, and pace it out, and that might make it a little bit easier for you. you know, so you can see a little bit of a distance from where you're starting from to the 3 months, to the 6 months, 9 months, and then the 12 months. That might make it easier for you. Okay. So good luck with your visualization. You don't have to, but record, you know, everything that that sprang to mind while we were doing the exercise, so that you've got something to look back on and to start working with next week. And it would be great if you could bring this with you to next week's live session, which will be about, you know, planning your realistic goals. All right, so that you've got something great to work with through the 12 months. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it helpful, and have a productive week thinking about your 2018, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye bye now.